I would like to thank you for for taking part in this interview. It's very important. I think strategically there is no alternative to our strategic relations with Arab countries, at the top of them, Gulf states, with others. How do you, based on the crisis now in Gaza, it seems to me there are chances in the future, in the horizon. What is your view about it? What is your assessment? What are your recommendations?
To start with, I'm strongly believe that the Abrahamic Accords is a major cornerstone that's going to reshape not just the current but the future of the whole region. So it did survive a few hard tests and, let's say, confrontation between Israel and Hamas. And we strongly believe that we're going to overcome this challenge, but it will require that our Israeli friends start listening to the region more than to the international community. This crisis represent maybe one of the way out? Of course. We see that the economic, let's say, corridors or cooperation and partnership is the way forward. It's going to be geoeconomics, no more geopolitics. We've seen what it has, how it has impacted our choices in the past, and we need to start changing course.
Abraham Accord is a fantastic model following the peace treaty, the historic peace treaty, and the peace treaty with the Mamlaka al-Urduniya, Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan. But I do feel that after the collapse of Hamastan, there is a chance to extend our relations with the Sunni Arab countries that are so important, in my opinion, with Saudi Arabia, based on the model of Abraham Accord that gives also economic, strategic, security future following the peace treaty, but it's not enough. We would like to, what do you think? Can we extend the model of Abraham Accords to Saudi Arabia and to establish some strategic alliance against all forces of evil or axis of evil?
Okay, I will tackle this from two perspectives. One, we are not as Sunni Arabs, we are just Arabs, and we are your neighbors. And the future could only be secured and the region restabilized by all means if we, let's say, collectively build a joint sort of efforts and vision. We have seen how that did affect the US position from reintegrating Iran through reinstating the nuclear deal. When we collectively opposed that, the US started listening, and also Europe. Now, does Saudi Arabia in need of a more stable, long-lasting region? Definitely is. Is it going to what you coin or let's say describe as normalized with Israel? Of course, it is in its best interest and the region best interest. The Saudis have floored the Saudi Peace Initiative back in 2002. Until today, not a single Israeli leader have addressed that. While at the same time, we have seen that the Israeli national anthem and the Israeli flag was raised in Riyadh last September. And then there was another event where Israeli officials have participated in a UN event in Riyadh as well. So what Saudi is, strategy is normalizing with the Israelis, not Israel as you choose through your elected official or government. Saudi private, Israeli private sector is working in Saudi Arabia. We are normalizing, or let's say, introducing through other means, what you call normalization, bottom up and not top to bottom. Now, Israel need to understand Saudi Arabia today and UAE are the biggest two economies in the region. And along with Israel, could you imagine the impact that those three economies gonna contribute to the whole region? We have vast interest in cooperation. We have Jordan, we have Iraq, we have Syria, we have Africa, we have Near East. There's so much that we could do together. And Saudi Arabia is the focal point of stability in the region. And you know exactly how much the Saudis did since 2003 and through 2011 until today. So they played a major role in terms of restabilizing its immediate region, and definitely the whole region will be benefiting from a stronger regional relationship, including Israel.
What is the perspective of the Arab countries, Gulf countries, and yourself about the crisis now in Gaza, and how do you foresee it ending in the, let's say, in the coming months?
Well, Gaza is not Hamas. As if we're going to be prosecuting Hamas, Israel gonna fail in winning the battle but losing the war. What we need is collectively to see what are other options for Gaza the day after. Everybody's talking about Gaza the day after. And what's happening? We see the Benjamin Netanyahu discussing that with the Americans, while Israel should be discussing this which is with its immediate neighbors and allies, including Saudi Arabia. What you need to do is just take a leap of faith. Don't assume that we will be more accommodating to any suggestion coming from Washington. We will be more open, regionally, to discuss our own affair and find solutions. Gaza could be a starting point. We already have a UAE field hospital. We have seen the Jordanian doing something there. Why can't we start by building on what we have on the ground? We have UAE. Can't we develop something that could be the core of a new thing?
Can you share with me some specific ideas about, let's assume after collapse of Hamastan, we are facing Gaza as a challenge, and we are ready all together to establish some axis of stability, sanity based on the Arab states, of course, United States, Israel. Can you be specific mainly about the security benefits, economic benefits, like we are meeting today for some conference and you are offering the agenda? What will be the agenda you will offer?
Okay, when we talk about Gaza the day after, we'll definitely need, Israel will need strong allies, and its immediate neighbors could represent that. But we also need the Palestinian Authority to come in. It doesn't have to be in the same shape as it is today. Maybe we could, if we go together to the Palestinian Authority and agree on a certain model or role, make them responsible for that according to a set plan, then could you imagine? We already have PA next to you. We can bring the PA, the Jordanian are there, UAE is there. I see a major role could be played by Saudi Arabia, Egypt as well, and Bahrain. We have Morocco. All of these interested partners see that Gaza can't be left once more. We're not going to go through the reconstruction of Gaza anymore. We're going to do a rehabilitation of Gaza, starting with people, then land, then economic vision. It's not the matter of telling the Gaza that you can develop it into something like Dubai or Hong Kong. No, We're going to bring able joint ventures. We're going to bring private sector. We're going to empower Gaza to be the captain of their own, future. Involve them directly. We're not going to, if we leave them in the hand of Hamas, we know exactly what's the outcome. Furthermore, we're not going to be playing with Hamas as a catalyst and, let's say, a political sort of balancing act between Gaza and the West Bank. We have to learn from all the lessons of yesterday and what led to October 7th. Prince Turki Faisal, during his attending the Baker Institute in the state, said one thing: for us to move ahead, we need a different regional narrative. If we continue with our own fragmented narratives, all we're gonna end up with is the 7th of October again. We need a regional one narrative, and peace and prosperity and stability, it will dictate us, all of us, working together toward that.
You know, we do have a challenge with Mahmoud Abbas, Abu Mazen. He is a historic leader, but he is not so young as he used to be 89 years ago, or 88 years ago. And he lost Gaza. And there is fear in Israel that he might lose again, because while he lost Gaza, he did have the whole power in the world. So what is your opinion? How can we translate your vision to action items? Not all details, but if you can share with us your scheme.
Well, I mean, with all my due respect to the current model of governance or leadership of the PA, I think they need definitely and immediately not a soul-searching exercise, but acknowledging reality. They had failed. They can blame the Israelis, they can blame everybody else, but they have to acknowledge that they have failed in governing their own affairs. So to start with, I would recommend that they do an actual sort of restructuring, starting with administrative and financial sort of major reforms, including probably applying what Prince Mohammed bin Salman did, using some sort of a Ritz-Carlton sort of model. They need to be made accountable. Two, Mahmoud Abbas, with all my due respect, he needs to step down. And the Palestinians need to start representing their best interest. Blaming Israel is easy, but they also need to blame themselves. Now, the matter of election, it shouldn't be an issue at the present time. Probably we could all agree, based on what we may think as a way out of Gaza, is to have transitional sort of governing body that's going to be reforming all the Palestinian faction and help them transition from liberation to political parties. And this is how I see it. They acknowledge what they have been doing, take responsibility for it, and for Mahmoud Abbas to agree on stepping down.
Can you imagine it possible that he will step down? He looks to me that he is eternal, at least from his point of view.
Well, put it this way, people like Mahmoud Abbas or Benjamin Netanyahu will not represent nor the best interest of Israel nor the best interest of the Palestinians. Both should exit the scene permanently.
I would like, with your permission, to ask your opinion whether Saudi Arabia is still enthusiastic to have strategic alliance with US and ready for extending Abraham Accords or the treaties with the Republic of Egypt and Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan to be more solid, powerful. What is your opinion? Is it feasible at least next year, 2024?
Well, put it this way, the soon we put Gaza behind us, we can restart going back on the same path. We've heard Prince Faisal bin Farhan calling for Israel to cease its current operation because it's not going to be achievable at, let's say, a low cost. The human cost is massive, and it is not something that anybody could live with. Two is to go back to the peaceful approach, and that means very clearly is going back to the negotiating table. Would it happen this year, next year? It's up to the Israelis. Now, we need to start with express our intentions through measures. Gaza at the present time represent that opportunity. That's what you said. Can we see light at the end of the Gaza tunnel? Yes. It's not going to be Hamas, and it's going to be us collectively working. But alienating the Palestinian Authority, as Benjamin Netanyahu is outlining, it's not going to be acceptable, because they're going to be exactly, accepting the fact that the two-state solution is not on the table anymore. And let me just add one point. I think what is missing is the two-state solution viable for the future of both or not? Two, I spoke to young people, Palestinian and Israelis, and both of them agree on one thing. They can live together. They can work together. Why can the politicians don't see that and see that their hope and aspiration is one state? So if that's the solution, and that's what King Salman, I'm not saying that King Salman is calling for one state solution, but what King Salman said in the Quds summit in Saudi Arabia, whatever the Palestinian will accept, Saudi will support.
So can we be optimistic or pessimistic about our alliances with the Arab world? I'm optimistic. But what is your opinion?
Well, put it this way. Israel needs to start acting like a regional partner and shouldn't wait always for its neighbors to take the first step. Israel could take the best step, and with that, really set the base for the rest of the region. We have the economic corridors. I've been speaking for the last 2 years with a lot of Israelis about a lot of ideas. Economics is going to be the way forward. It's not what we all need. If you succeeded in turning the Negev green, could you imagine collectively how much Negev we can do in the region?
What is your opinion about the competition between the superpowers, namely United States vis-a-vis Russia, of course Iran in the center as a regional power with all its characteristics, threshold state, nuclear, supporting terror, supported by Russia, but on the other hand you have US. What is your perspective about the international arena vis-a-vis the Middle East?
I believe that you and I have touched on that point when I was in Australia, when you mistaken me for the Bahraini ambassador to Israel.
I mean it.
I told you. and I've told you there and then, as long as we are willing to continue being seen as a fragmented Middle East, nobody going to show the respect we deserve. It's not going to be power. It's going to be our collective will that's going to be reshaping the future of this region. Israel is part of it, and Israel should not wait for Saudi Arabia or Bahrain or UAE or Jordan to express strategic moves in terms of complementing or developing something down the line of economic corridors that's going to be benefiting Israel the Palestinian and the Jordanian. I believe if you start acting or working on that, and the potential is huge, you're going to be expressing a different Israel. You're going to be representing the Israel that we signed those agreements with back in 2020.
With this very important, I can talk with you 2 years from now, but unfortunately we need to end. So I would like to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for this fascinating meeting interview. And بدي أشكرك من عمق قلبي وأهلا وسهلا وشكرا وإلى اللقاء.
إلى لقاء قريب يا صديقي.
شكرا.